Did you know that the very first hour after you wake up each morning could literally decide whether you'll live a vibrant life into your 90s? Or if you'll face a much shorter, less active existence? It sounds almost unbelievable, yet it's a profound truth many people overlook. Shockingly, most folks are unknowingly doing things every single morning that actually chip away at their longevity, long before they even finish their breakfast. These are small, seemingly harmless habits that, day after day, can silently contribute to accelerated aging. But please, don't you worry. In my years as a physician, I've seen what truly works. And today, I'm going to unveil 7 powerful morning habits easily adopted by anyone. These aren't just old wives' tales. These are profound secrets that many doctors won't explicitly tell you, but the scientific evidence, from places like Harvard and the Mayo Clinic, is absolutely undeniable. Let me tell you a bit about a patient of mine, Arthur. When Arthur was 65, he started to see his friends grappling with serious health issues. Heart problems, memory decline, the very things many of us fear as we age. But today, Arthur is a remarkable 93 years old, and he's still living life on his own terms. What's his secret, you might wonder? It certainly wasn't genetics. The real turning point came when he discovered and diligently began to practice these 7 specific morning habits. When I directly asked him what made such a dramatic difference, he didn't hesitate. He looked me right in the eye and said, "What I do in the first hour after waking up has truly saved my life." And today, I am going to share Arthur's priceless secrets directly with you. Are you ready to discover the straightforward morning habits that could entirely transform your health and vitality after 60, just like they did for him? And here's the most exciting part. One of these habits takes just 30 seconds of your time, but it has the potential to add years, even decades, to your life. Before we dive in, I truly want to know how many of you have felt that little bit of worry in the morning about what the future holds for your health. If what I just shared feels familiar, please comment a simple yes below. It shows me you understand, and it shows others in our community that they are not alone. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's begin with our first, and perhaps most essential habit. Habit number 1. Immediate hydration. Have you ever paused to think about what's really happening inside your body right after you wake up? For so many of us, the very first action is reaching for that warm, comforting mug of coffee. We believe it's what we need to get started. But as a doctor, I have to tell you, that single habit could be doing more harm than you realize. Here's why. After 6, 7, or hopefully 8 hours of sleep, your body is profoundly dehydrated. During that time, you lose a significant amount of water just by breathing. This causes your blood to literally thicken, a condition we in the medical field sometimes call morning blood sludging. Now, think about what that means. Your heart, first thing in the morning, has to work significantly harder to pump that thicker fluid through your veins. This places an incredible amount of pressure on your heart and on the tiny, delicate blood vessels in your brain and your kidneys. If you've ever felt a little dizzy or experienced that morning brain fog where you just can't seem to think clearly, this is often the culprit. This isn't just a theory. It's backed by serious science. Leading kidney specialists and researchers at Harvard Medical School have made a crucial discovery. They found that this state of overnight dehydration can accelerate the body's aging process by a staggering 31%. Dr. Jessica Rothman, who directs renal health at Harvard, explains that this accumulation of silent damage, day after day, dramatically speeds up how quickly your body ages. I saw this firsthand with a patient of mine, a wonderful woman named Eleanor. At 72, Eleanor was truly struggling. She battled constant, debilitating fatigue and suffered from troubling memory lapses that frightened her. Her kidney function was declining so rapidly that her doctors were seriously contemplating dialysis, a very intensive and life-altering treatment. As a last resort, we discussed her daily routines, and she started a surprisingly simple ritual. Immediately upon waking, before her feet even touched the floor, she began drinking 1 16-ounce glass of plain, room-temperature water. Within an astonishing 60 days, her kidney function improved by a remarkable 28%. My doctor couldn't believe the incredible change in my blood work, Eleanor shared with me, still amazed. He kept asking what new medication I was taking, and I simply told him, just water, first thing in the morning. So, here's your straightforward plan for starting tomorrow morning. Before you go to bed tonight, Place a full 16-ounce glass of water right on your nightstand. The very moment you open your eyes, commit to drinking that entire glass. This isn't the time for coffee or tea. It's time for pure water. Make this a non-negotiable part of your morning, just like brushing your teeth. After hours of sleep, your vital organs are desperately waiting for this essential hydration. Don't make them wait another minute longer than necessary. Alright, let's move on to our second life-enhancing habit. Habit number 2. Exposure to natural morning light. Have you ever considered that you might be inadvertently disrupting your body's own natural clock, your circadian rhythm, every single morning, without even realizing it? If you aren't getting natural outdoor light within the first 30 minutes of waking up, you are unfortunately missing out on one of the most potent longevity triggers that modern science has discovered. Think of it like this. Your body has an internal clock, and that morning sunlight is the signal that sets it for the entire day. It doesn't just wake you up. It triggers a complex chain of hormonal processes that literally dictates everything from the quality of your sleep that night, to your metabolism, and even your sharp cognitive function for the next 24 hours. Missing this vital morning light cue is why so many people suffer from that dreaded afternoon energy crash, and it's why their sleep can feel so unrefreshing, no matter how long they stay in bed. The science on this is fascinating and clear. Studies from the National Institute on Aging demonstrate that exposing yourself to morning sunlight within that crucial 30-minute window can increase your body's melatonin production later in the day by an impressive 73%, leading to better, more restorative sleep. Dr. Andrew Peterson, a leading researcher in this field, clarifies its importance, linking a lack of morning light to a 37% higher risk of developing debilitating neurodegenerative diseases after the age of 70. Let's look at the compelling experience of a gentleman I worked with, Charles. At 75, Charles had been battling chronic insomnia for decades, a problem that robbed him of his sleep and his vitality. He had tried every conceivable solution, spending thousands of dollars on various prescription sleep aids and expensive, elaborate supplements, but nothing seemed to offer a lasting solution. Then his doctor suggested a remarkably simple change. Spend just 10 minutes outside immediately after waking, rain or shine. Within a mere 2 weeks, Charles was not only falling asleep faster, but he was also staying asleep longer. However, what truly surprised him were the completely unexpected side benefits. He marveled, "My blood pressure dropped by 15 points, and that dreaded afternoon energy crash I used to experience completely vanished. All of this, just from sitting on my porch with my morning coffee instead of staying inside." So please, don't wait another day to embrace this incredibly life-changing habit. Starting tomorrow morning, make it your unwavering mission to get natural sunlight within 30 minutes of opening your eyes. Even on an overcast or cloudy day, the outdoor light is still many, many times brighter than any indoor lighting. If mobility is a concern for you, simply sitting by an open window can still make a significant difference. This isn't merely about getting better sleep. It's profoundly about resetting your entire biological clock to actively slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Are you genuinely willing to give your body this priceless gift tomorrow morning? This one was a surprise for many of my patients. If you were surprised too, comment "wow" below. Now for our third crucial habit, one that speaks directly to those morning aches and pains. Habit number 3. Gentle movement before breakfast. How you choose to move your body, or not move it, before that first cup of coffee in the morning could genuinely determine how comfortable and functional your joints feel when you reach 80 or 90. The vast majority of people, unfortunately, make the critical error of remaining completely sedentary until they've had their breakfast. We sit up in bed, we shuffle to the kitchen, we sit down to eat. But this stillness unknowingly triggers inflammatory processes that dramatically accelerate the natural deterioration of your joints over time. Can you feel that stiffness in your body first thing in the morning? In your back, your knees, your fingers? That stiffness is your body sending you a very important message. It's a message that says, "Please, move me gently before you do anything else." Here's the powerful science behind that feeling. Research conducted by rheumatologists at the renowned Mayo Clinic has shown that incorporating gentle morning movement can reduce joint deterioration by a remarkable 65% in older adults. Dr. Lisa Monroe, who is the chief of geriatric medicine at the Mayo Clinic, emphasizes this finding. Her research clearly indicates that morning movement performed before eating actually activates a crucial process known as autophagy. Think of autophagy as your body's cellular cleaning system. This process is absolutely vital for flushing out the inflammatory debris that builds up in your joints overnight, ensuring their long-term health. This simple habit completely transformed the life of a patient of mine named Helen. At 68, she was facing daunting knee replacement surgery after years of agonizing and debilitating arthritis pain. She was terrified of the operation and the long recovery. As a final, desperate attempt to avoid surgery, her physical therapist suggested a straightforward regimen. 7 minutes of gentle movement immediately after waking, before she consumed anything at all. Within just 3 months, Helen's pain had diminished so significantly that her surgeon, to her immense relief, completely canceled her scheduled operation. She told me, with tears of joy in her eyes, "I honestly thought my active days were completely over. Now I can play with my grandchildren again. I can enjoy walks." And it all truly began with those few dedicated minutes of morning movement. So, here is your practical action plan for tomorrow. After you've had your morning water, but before any food or coffee, spend just 5 to 10 minutes performing gentle movements that lubricate your joints. This is not about strenuous, intense exercise. It's about movement that simply feels good and brings comfort. Try small, fluid, circular motions with your ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders. Stand up and gently sway from side to side. The absolute key is continuous, gentle motion that slowly wakes up your joints and muscles, preparing them for the day ahead. Will you make it a priority to dedicate these few minutes tomorrow to actively protect your joints for many decades to come? Now, let's explore habit number 4. And this is the one I promised you at the beginning. This incredibly quick, 30-second breathing habit is arguably the single most powerful longevity practice that almost all people who live past 90 years old consistently share. Yet, astonishingly, most people completely overlook it. What if I were to tell you that the very way you breathe in the morning has a profound impact on your stress response for the entire day, potentially adding, or regrettably subtracting, years from your precious life? Are you breathing fully and deeply right now as you watch this video? Most likely not. The truth is, most of us breathe quite shallowly, utilizing only about 30% of our lung capacity. This shallow breathing keeps our body in a low-grade state of fight or flight, constantly producing the stress hormone cortisol, which accelerates aging. So, how do we fix this? The science is simple, yet profound. We need to activate something called the vagus nerve. Think of this nerve as a switch that tells your body it is safe, that it can calm down and redirect vital resources toward promoting longevity, rather than constantly being on high alert for survival. And the fastest way to flip that switch is with intentional, deep breathing. Researchers from the Blue Zones, those remarkable regions around the world where people routinely live beyond 100 years, have meticulously documented this. They found that these centenarians actively practice specific breathing patterns that can reduce cellular stress by an astonishing 48%. In Sardinia's rugged mountain villages, for example, where men frequently live robust lives into their late 90s, researchers observed a captivating morning ritual. Every single morning, before anything else, these elders would step outside and perform a series of deep, rhythmic breaths. When researchers measured their cortisol levels, they discovered patterns strikingly similar to those of much younger individuals. One wise 96-year-old shepherd simply explained, "I breathe in the morning to prepare my body for a good day. If I skip this, I feel it by noon. My energy drops, and my thinking becomes clouded." So, here is the simple 30-second practice that truly could transform your health. Immediately after your morning water, and ideally, while you're getting some natural light, perform the renowned 4-7-8 breathing technique. I'll guide you through it once. Inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, hold your breath gently for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Finally, exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8, making a soft whooshing sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat this entire cycle 3 or 4 times. That's all it takes. A mere 30 seconds that effectively signals your body to activate those vital longevity pathways rather than triggering a harmful stress response. Will you genuinely invest these precious 30 seconds tomorrow morning? It might just be the highest return on investment you will ever receive for your health and well-being. This is powerful. To commit to trying this tomorrow, just comment "breathe" below. Let's move on to habit number 5, and this one happens in the kitchen. Habit number 5. A protein and fiber-rich breakfast. Is your current breakfast routine silently undermining your chances of living a long, healthy life past 90? The harsh truth is that what many people consume for breakfast, especially in modern Western societies, is actively accelerating their aging process. Things like sugary cereals, white bread toast with jam, pastries, or even just a cup of coffee. These foods are unfortunately setting you up for a day of inflammation and cellular damage. Here's the core issue. When you eat a breakfast high in refined carbohydrates and sugar, your body experiences a sharp spike in blood sugar, which then triggers a massive release of the hormone insulin. Think of these insulin spikes as a recurring fire alarm going off inside your body. Over time, this constant state of alarm leads to chronic inflammation, which is one of the primary drivers of almost every age-related disease we know of. It affects your joints, your heart, your brain, everything. Nutritional gerontologists, who are experts in the nutrition of aging, have carefully identified specific breakfast patterns among long-lived populations that effectively reduce these inflammatory markers by an impressive 53%. Dr. Valerie Richardson, the lead researcher at the Longevity Nutrition Institute, explains it passionately. She says, "The very first meal of your day fundamentally sets metabolic patterns that profoundly influence everything." Our research unequivocally shows that a morning meal containing at least 25 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber creates a metabolic environment that actively supports cellular repair and regeneration, rather than fostering cellular damage. Consider Richard's first-hand experience, which speaks volumes. At 68, he received a diagnosis of prediabetes, accompanied by rapidly rising inflammatory markers in his blood work. Despite being at a healthy weight, his doctor grimly predicted he would develop full-blown diabetes within just 2 years. Instead of immediately resorting to medication, Richard chose a different path. He worked closely with a nutritionist to completely overhaul his breakfast. He swapped his usual toast and coffee for a morning meal packed with protein and fiber, specifically scrambled eggs with spinach and a side of berries. Just 6 months later, his blood markers had astonishingly normalized. Completely. "The only thing I truly changed was my breakfast," Richard emphasized to me, still a bit stunned by the results. "My doctor couldn't believe it was even possible to reverse these negative health trends simply by changing one single meal." So, here is your essential morning meal formula for robust longevity. You simply need to combine a high-quality protein source like eggs or Greek yogurt with fiber-rich foods like berries, chia seeds, or a portion of vegetables. Crucially, aim to completely avoid refined carbohydrates before 10 a.m. The true beauty of this habit is that it doesn't demand extra time. You are already eating breakfast. You are simply making a smarter choice, choosing to activate powerful longevity pathways instead of inflammatory ones. What will you consciously choose for breakfast tomorrow? Next, let's explore habit number 6. And here's a morning ritual that proves to be even more powerful than any supplement for extending your life. Meaningful human connection. Did you realize that chronic social isolation can impact your body and overall health as dramatically and as negatively as smoking 15 cigarettes every single day? It's a shocking truth. As we get older, our social circles can naturally shrink, and it becomes easy to fall into a routine of isolation, especially in the mornings. What most people don't fully understand is that when this connection occurs matters almost as much as the connection itself. The morning sets the tone for your entire neurochemical state for the day. A landmark 80-year study conducted by Harvard University has unequivocally revealed something astonishing. It showed that cultivating morning social connections can increase longevity more significantly than even quitting smoking or regularly exercising. Dr. Robert Miller, who spearheaded the latest phase of this multigenerational research, explicitly states this. He says, "We discovered that participants who actively engaged in some form of meaningful social contact before 10 a.m. consistently exhibited a 29% lower all-cause mortality rate over the entire study period." Morning social interaction appears to powerfully establish neurotransmitter patterns that uniquely benefit both cardiovascular and immune function throughout the remainder of the day. You can see this beautifully illustrated in the culture of Okinawa, Japan, a place renowned as home to some of the world's longest-lived people. A researcher I know, Nancy, observed a truly fascinating pattern there while studying their centenarians. Each morning, without fail, neighbors would spontaneously gather, often just for a few moments before they fully embarked on their daily tasks. Some conversations lasted only 5 minutes, but the consistency was the key. One remarkable 97-year-old Okinawan woman explained it to her. She said, "If I don't speak to someone in the morning, my whole day just feels wrong." We genuinely check on each other every single morning. It's how we've all managed to live for so long. When researchers later measured her inflammatory markers, her biological markers were equivalent to being decades younger than her socially isolated peers. So, here are 3 incredibly simple ways you can begin to incorporate this life-extending habit into your routine, starting tomorrow morning. First, make a brief morning call to a friend or a family member. Even just 3 minutes of genuine conversation counts immensely. Second, if you happen to live with others, intentionally create a meaningful morning check-in ritual rather than merely passing each other like strangers. Share a few moments, a smile, a warm greeting. Third, if you live alone, consider actively establishing a regular morning meeting with close neighbors or friends, even if it's just once a week to begin. The essential key here is making human connection a non-negotiable part of your morning, just as essential as brushing your teeth. Your body literally cannot thrive without it. Who will you reach out to and connect with tomorrow morning? Finally, we arrive at habit number 7. This is the one singular mental habit that people living vibrantly into their 90s practice every single morning without fail. Intentional gratitude. But please, listen closely. This isn't just the vague, be thankful advice you might have heard before. There is a very specific, powerful way to practice gratitude that actively ignites profound longevity pathways in both your brain and your body. As we age, it's easy to focus on what's wrong with our bodies. The aches, the pains, the parts that don't work like they used to. This perspective, however, unknowingly keeps our bodies in a state of stress. Neuroscientists at Yale University have made an incredible discovery about this. Specific morning gratitude practices can literally and physically restructure the aging brain and effectively reduce the stress hormone cortisol by an impressive 23%. Dr. Sarah Jenkins, who specializes in the brain's ability to change and adapt in aging adults, explains this. She says, "We can actually observe measurable brain changes on fMRI scans when older adults consistently practice directed gratitude in the morning. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for regulating your emotions, shows increased activity patterns that are strikingly similar to those found in much younger brains." But here's the crucial detail. The effect is significantly stronger when practiced within the first hour of waking. Patricia's personal story powerfully demonstrates this profound impact. At 74, she was battling persistent high blood pressure, hypertension that simply wasn't responding well to her medication. Her cardiologist was deeply concerned about her diminishing heart function. After learning about the compelling research on gratitude, Patricia decided to try a simple morning gratitude practice, focusing specifically and intentionally on her own body and health. Within just 3 months, her blood pressure had remarkably stabilized, and her heart rate variability, a vital marker of cardiovascular health, had improved by an astonishing 31%. Patricia recounted with a smile, "My doctor kept asking what medication I had changed. When I told him it was just my morning thinking pattern, he was openly skeptical, until he saw the consistently improved readings over time. Then he became a believer." Here is the quick, 2-minute gratitude practice that truly transformed Patricia's health. Immediately after your breathing exercise, gently place your hand over your heart. Then, simply name 3 specific parts of your body you are genuinely grateful for and clearly state why. For example, "I am deeply grateful for my eyes that allow me to see the joyful faces of my beloved grandchildren. I am thankful for my strong legs that still faithfully carry me wherever I need to go. And I am immensely grateful for my heart that has been beating faithfully and tirelessly for me all these precious years." The absolute key to this practice is specificity, and directly directing your gratitude toward your physical body, not just external circumstances. This isn't magical thinking. It creates a measurable, positive shift in your nervous system. Will you commit to trying this powerful 2-minute practice tomorrow morning? Your perspective, believe it or not, literally changes your very physiology. Let's circle back to Arthur, the wonderful gentleman we met at the beginning of our conversation today. Remember, he didn't start with all 7 of these habits at once. That would have been overwhelming. No. He started with just 2. The glass of water, and sitting by the window. That's it. Today, he is thriving at 93 years old, not because he was perfect, but because he simply started. He understood that small beginnings lead to profound changes. And that is the message I want to leave with you today. It's simple, but it is powerful. Your morning routine isn't just a set of tasks to get through. It is a powerful conversation with your body. A conversation that happens every single day. And in that conversation, you have the power to program your body for either vitality or for decline. The choice is yours, and it begins the moment you wake up tomorrow. So, now I have one important question for you. This is the part that truly matters. In the comments below, I want you to tell me the one small change you promised to make for yourself this week. Just one. Will it be the glass of water before your coffee? Will it be those 10 minutes of precious morning sunlight? Let's make a promise to ourselves, together. Your commitment will inspire more people than you know. If this conversation was helpful to you, please click the like button to show your support. It's a small gesture that helps this message find others. To continue having these talks, and to be a part of this journey with us, make sure you subscribe and become part of our community here. And finally, please share this video with one person you care about. A friend, a spouse, a sibling. It might be the greatest, most life-affirming gift you give them this year. Thank you for spending this time with me. Stay healthy, stay wise, and I will see you in the next video.